Hello, and welcome to the I've Seen Everything Reaction Wrap-Up podcast. Here is where I share my thoughts, reactions, and review for my latest reaction videos. To find these full reaction videos, please search for @SeenEverything over on YouTube, or check the description of this podcast for more information. Also, please remember to rate and comment on this episode, and follow the podcast so you can see when I'm putting out new wrap-ups. And now, on to my latest wrap-up for Smile. Well, sorry if my voice was given out during that. What do you say about a movie like that? Really? I think it's a great premise for a horror movie. As I'm recording this, I just recently did the reaction for Obsession a couple weeks ago. And strangely, I get a similar feeling for this, and I can tell you why. Not because those movies bear a lot of similarity to each other or whatever, but it's not a new concept, obviously, but it's done in a new way. And I feel that same way about Obsession. For those who haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it, but we've basically seen possession stories and things like that before. In this case, they even said it in here. This is a curse. And so the idea of a curse is obviously not new. We've seen throughout history, throughout folklore, there have been all kinds of things about different curses and things following people around and how you get rid of them and all that kind of stuff. What is different is in past horror movies. I think this is something that's positive about newer horror movies. Not all past horror movies, but too often what you would see is you want to end up with some kind of happy ending. Even if the final people who are left went through something horrible, you want there to be some way that they figure out what it is and they figure out what to do about it and they're able to fight back, and you have this ultimate climax where they are able to defeat the evil and survive. You see it in slasher movies, all the different horror monsters. It's how almost all of them end. And even in things about curses or whatever, demons, all this kind of stuff, they go and talk to the expert at some point and, oh, you have to do this thing and then that will defeat it, and they're able to do it in the end. This does not give you that. It is a story about a curse. It operates in that same way. It has its own distinct, feel and methodology about how it does that, but it also doesn't let you off the hook. In fact, it pretty much mocks you for wanting that or for thinking that it would be that easy. The ending would have been believable, meaning when we thought she got away and when we thought she defeated the evil, if it had been a little more difficult, if it had been harder to do, if she had barely made it out, if she was almost dead or something like that, and if that's where we left it. But it's when you get to this whole thing of she is able to set it on fire, she's able to get out of the house burns down, the evil burns inside, she drives back to the city, and everything's just kind of okay. And she goes to her ex and she tells him she's okay, and she apologizes for things from their past and is still in this thing of dealing with stuff that has been messed up in her life, and can I sleep here? And then it turns around and laughs in her face. Haha, you thought it was going to be that easy. Haha, you thought that you could just wish this away, or that you could just deal with your trauma and your grief and somehow find a way to defeat this. This thing has been around for who knows how long and has been doing this for all that time. Again, if it was that easy, somebody probably would have discovered that at some point by now. But no, you haven't even left the cabin. You didn't do anything. You're still here. This entity that's tormenting you is still here. She did go in and lock herself in. It was kind of the only thing she could do to try to save him from it. I mean, I guess what she could have done, I don't think it would have worked at this point, was try to close the door and burn the house down with the thing still inside it. The curse is on her and she would have been outside. As soon as he's there, it creates a problem. It creates a problem that the curse has someone to pass to, and then she's gone and it's with him. She was correct in that she needed to be somewhere where she could be completely alone, so you give the curse nowhere to go. So even if she ended up not surviving, that it could have potentially ended with her, especially if she had ended things on her own terms. I really wonder if she had just gone and decided to do that and done it. That would have been incredibly tragic for her, but I wonder what that would have done as far as if the curse would have died with her, if it would have just had nowhere else to go, if it can't survive without a host. So we didn't get to really see that. I thought that's where we were headed. And that's also why I thought when she was able to kill it like that, that just felt too easy. But as a concept for a horror movie franchise, I think it's great. I really like it. I think it's something where you could tell all kinds of stories because it's not tied to a certain set of characters. This is really kind of the thing I feel works the best when you come to series like this, where you don't have common characters and common lore like that. You have a common catalyst, and you just introduce that catalyst into all kinds of different situations. So you can tell kind of vastly different stories. Now, you might expand on it at certain points. You might allow a little bit more lore to be known about it at certain points. But especially with things like this, you do have to keep it somewhat mysterious. You do have to keep it somewhat unknown as to how it functions, because that's where a lot of the fear comes from. If you educate people too much about what it is and give them too much of an opportunity to figure out how to fight it, then it's less scary. It's kind of inherently less scary at that point. I do wonder, I mean, I don't want him to be a central figure, but I do wonder if Joel is going to show up in any way in Smile 2, meaning either he'll show up kind of out of his mind and he'll be the one to pass the curse, or if we'll just see some reference, like if they start tracing things back in Smile 2, like, oh, this guy's part of the chain, and so is Rose. Or maybe, again, we'll have no connection whatsoever and just a shared catalyst. Just this thing shows up again somewhere else, completely unattached. That's the thing. The guy who was in prison, what was his name? Robert Talley. He was able to research different places that this had happened over time and that different streaks had popped up here and there. It may not even be all the same entity. It could be several of these entities. So it'll be interesting to see how they proceed with this concept in Smile 2 and if there's any attachment or if it's completely separate. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. I didn't know what I was walking into with this, but this is a nice surprise of a horror movie that did what it was supposed to do. It was exciting. It was scary. Didn't know where it was going a lot of times. And that's where you want to be with stuff like that. So I appreciate all of you being here to watch this with me today. And I will see you on the next video. Take care. Thanks so much for listening to the I've Seen Everything reaction wrap-up. Again, to find these full reaction videos, please search for @SeenEverything over on YouTube or check the description of this podcast for more information. Also, please remember to rate and comment on this episode and follow the podcast so you can see when I'm putting out new wrap-ups. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll meet you here for the next episode.